from day one, without any staff whatsoever, our overhead cost was almost in the tens of thousands. In the definition of what I know now about business, that was actually absolutely stupid. We were not even doing £10,000 a month and we got that space. So we're paying like £5,000 in rent, we're paying like £2,000 in business rates. Then not think about electricity, it was nothing less than 1,000 to 1,500 as a then. Hello, it's Bishila again here. Today's episode, I'll just be talking about things I've learned in my business over the last 5 years. I'm sure maybe someone find it useful. When I started Knees, it came out of an idea. I had 3 businesses in mind that I wanted to kickstart. I had some money, I had no experience, and I had a lot of time at my disposal. I just wanted to work and I wanted to bring value. One of the business was a business that I could only do back home in Nigeria. Another of the business was a business that I needed to travel a lot and speak with a lot of people that were not within my reach. And the third business was the Nigerian African grocery business. And I thought I would run it like an e-commerce model where I would just put up a website online and I would just ship out product. It was also around the COVID period, so it hit perfectly because people were in need of online grocery delivery services. I set up Knees in my garage, and the entire store was just a section of my garage, and we will send out things on a daily basis, and the others will make me like very happy based on what I see, based on how the spike go. My wife and I think I had my brother with me then, who would handle like the orders, would handle like the customer questions, would handle like issues. So everything was smooth, but I never really saw it as something that would really bring in any money that would sustainably make me have a means of livelihood, because what I was really getting from there was nothing to write home about, but something strategic, or let me not say, no, not strategic, but something interesting happened. The more we did it, the more we kept getting customers that would order the first time and they would keep coming back. So the growth was quite consistent. I think on our first month we did about 1,000 something pounds, then we went to 2,500, then the third month we went to 4,000, then after that we went to 7,000. And as at 7,000, it was quite obvious now that we're maxing the capacity of my garage. It was very, very, very like difficult to move things around and to actually enable and to actually have operations and things going on. And it was either I shut down this nice hobby of mine, or I take it serious and we have to move to somewhere else. So I was in between. So fun fact, I was actually in between shutting down the business, or let me say I was in between the process of either shutting down the business or taking it to the next step, because I didn't know what to do. If we took it to the next step, it would mean a lot of investing my own money into it, and I wasn't sure I was ready to take that leap yet. Or not that I wasn't sure, I didn't know even then was the right time to do it, and that business was the right business to do it. And the other alternative was, okay, I've learned a few things in the last 3-4 months and I'll just wind it down and then we'll see how it goes. But something very, very interesting happened. Around the same period, there was this company called Oja, kind of made a lot of waves during its time. The company was doing exactly the same thing that we were trying to do off my garage, but they just raised like 3.4 or so, I can't remember the exact figure, but they just raised a substantial amount of money in the millions, maybe $3 to $4 million. And I looked into them, I looked at the founder, I looked at what they were doing, I looked at the background of the founder and everything, and the company and what they stood for. What they stood for was basically exactly what we stood for. The only difference, in my opinion, and this may be subjective, was that we're a lot more detailed and we're a lot more vision oriented. But in terms of the story, it was for sure inspiring. And in many ways, right, I looked at that story, I looked at the PR, I looked at the founder, I looked at what they've done, and I'm like, if they could do this, then we could do it as well. But from day one, the only alternative I considered was that we would have to raise money as well to even be able to remotely compete with them, because they were raising millions of the money. So if things were going to be done the right way that they had on paper, they were going to kick out every single person in the market, both online and both in store, physical store and retail grocery store, brick and mortar stores, within a couple of years, you know. So I thought, you know what, I'll join the challenge. I believe that if they've gone as far as an extent to raise this amount of money, there's something in this space, you know. And that was basically what took me to take the leap of moving to our next location. Then, to get this straight, guys, this was our first mistake. So I'm going to identify a couple of mistakes I made at the beginning of the business and how they would have been different if I'd done things differently, and how they shaped us to actually learn things the hard way. I mean, I don't regret it now, but these were things that I wish I'd known at the point in time. The first assumption I had as soon as Oja raised money was that we could do it as well. Now, rather than starting organically, like I said, in my garage, where we'll just buy a rent that the business at that point in time producing £7,000 on a recurring could actually afford, I just went straight and I got like a 4,000 square foot warehouse. And 4,000 square foot warehouse would usually be ideal for a monthly capacity of £1 million a month, or let's say, without exaggeration, between 200 to 300,000 pounds a month. But we were not even doing £10,000 a month, and we got that space. So we're paying like £5,000 in rent. We're paying like £2,000 in business rates. Then not to think about electricity, it was nothing less than 1,000 to 1,500 as a then. So from day one, without any staff whatsoever, our overhead cost was almost in the tens of thousands. In the definition of what I know now about business, that was actually absolutely stupid. Because we didn't have like an angel investor, we didn't have like any bank or any major investor or any firm or any VC firm that would want to like put a stake in what we're looking to do. But somehow I thought if Ojo could do it, then we could do it. I'll just build in this infrastructure and I'll make sure that things work, and I'll basically show it to someone that would be interested, and then they will buy it, and then we'll be able to go from there. But at this point in time, like I said, we're not even making like 10,000. We're not, I think we're probably scraping 9,000 at this point in time, like the first few months when we moved into the facility. I had to use a lot of my savings at the beginning, a lot of my salaries, and also I even took a couple of loans that would come later to bite me. But this was basically pushing the infrastructure and making us actually live there. And I didn't really feel the heat immediately because my savings was really a lot. My salary was really good, and then I'd already taken a couple of loans, so I was good, and even paying back the loans was not a problem. And then we started to grow, but it wasn't as fast as I'd hoped for. However, I started meeting the investors after we set up a particular structure that the way I'd love it to be. We're spending about 12 to 13k every month with one or two staffs that we had. My wife would help, my brother would help, but literally I was the one feeling the dip because every single thing was circumnavigated around the fact that money was leaving but money wasn't coming in, and we needed to fix that fast. And this is the problem. As I was going to different investors, either angel investors or VC firm, they didn't even look at my plan, and they would be like, you know what, Ojo is already in the market, there's no way you're going to make it if I'm not interested. And that was a very, very concerning factor for me, because like every single person I hit, they were either referring to someone that was already famous in the demand, they were either referring to someone that was already been heavily invested and I didn't want to take a risk and put the leg in it. So I then realized that I might be on my own in this, and I thought, you know what, rather than focusing on raising money at this stage of the business will die if I keep doing that. It probably would be best if I focused my energy on the business itself and just make sure it can be the best possible business it can. And then the business started doing well. We went from 9 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15. We started doing 20,000 like on a regular for a couple of months, but still that was not really doing anything because we spent about 13,000 in expenses, and 20,000 in revenue for a grocery store was just not going to cut it. There was a lot more things that we needed to do. We needed to definitely raise the revenue immediately, which we were working on. So we brought in a couple of staffs that were really good at what they were doing, and then we changed the model just a little bit. We integrated like the model to just not deliver to customers like from the online, but also for customers to come into the store. That basically created a double of our revenue over a short period of time, because what we now had was we had the local community where we were based that now knew that we were a physical store accepting customers, and basically they were coming to make the purchase. So that became somewhere from 20 to 25 to 40,000 pounds a month just because of that. And that was a little bit of a breathing space, because now we had not a lot of revenue, but some decent revenue that could be able to make us operate the business on a rolling basis. However, as revenue increased, because it's a retail business, it requires a lot of cash flow. Expenses also increased, and the need for stocking also increased. So we were always in this situation where we needed money all the time. Now, the second mistake was I was hiring good staff. I was letting them go, either because they were not comfortable, or either because we didn't have the operations to keep them. And staffs that were not good at all, that had potential, we train them, they become really good, and they'll leave because our pay wasn't the best. This was a big problem for us, and it kept happening. And one of the things I then soon realized is the more this was happening, the more it was taking time from me to actually do what would make the business grow, because I would need to now again go into the HR route, try and hire someone. Once they get hired, they will need to be trained. Once they get trained, it will take about maybe 4 to 5 weeks of business time basically for them to get up to speed. And immediately they've really gotten good, which is usually about 6 to 7 months, they are coming to say, we're sorry, but there's this position that came up and it's really good for me and I have to go. And there's nothing I could do. So it felt like a trap. And I was like, what am I going to do to resolve this? That was my second mistake. Employee mistake, the way I hired them, the way I went about them, the way I managed, the way they were managed, and the whole dynamics of how I made them work and how efficient the output could be. Another mistake then happened. the bit of cash flow I mentioned earlier, we were always having cash flow issues because even if now we're doing well over 40,000, there was always an issue with an expense that have not been fully paid or some stuff that we need. So even if there was cash in, cash out every day, it was still not enough to go around. Then we started looking out for loans because, so by the way, we're taking out from loans to basically move the business to a really massive location. So when we moved to that location, the section of the business we were occupying was so minute that anyone that would come into the business would wonder, why don't we just go into somewhere significantly smaller? Because we were using just like 5% of the entire place. Even if like the negative answers from the potential investors made me realize a couple of months back that I definitely made the wrong choice, there was already, I might have taken the wrong step in getting a big warehouse because we were really using peanuts compared to the entire rent we were paying for. You know, so for anyone out there that will be looking to start a business, that is starting a business, this is one of the things I would want to advise them about. Like, just cut your coat according to your size. Like, no matter, you may be a big dreamer, that's fine. It's perfect to be a dreamer. And honestly, I know I am a dreamer. But if you can't curtail your dream or cut your coat according to your size, try and make a friend in the pessimist. Most of the times what you find is when you have a co-founder or when you have someone that you're working with, there's always that person that want to go as far as they can stretch and take the major risk, while there's always that person that's kind of thinking from the more careful perspective. And most of the time, funny enough, these roles can get switched. So if there is something I know now, that's something I would have tried to checkmate myself for. I was not doing this, I had not done this before, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So I'd gone deep into the mistake before I realized that. And now, because of that, when the revenue started becoming 40-something thousand, it started taking a lot of my time, and it was very difficult for me to concentrate on my day job and also run the business. And then I had to make a tough decision that I would have to quit my day job. But this is the problem. My day job was now majorly paying for a lot of the expenses of the business because I maxed myself. I maxed out most of the savings that we had, and we still had loans to pay, and we still had a couple of expenses to service, even if the business was now doing 40,000. So even if I'd wanted to go into the business to depend on, I would be killing the business in a way. So I couldn't really do that. So what I did was I went in part-time for my job per se, sort of, or I would work certain times so that I could still bring in money to take care of the family, but I won't take anything on the business, which was again another mistake. When you have a business, no matter how much potential you have for that business, you need to expense your work because you're still an employee of that business. Okay, this is where I see it now. The business is using you, and even if that business is your child, the business needs to be able to pay you, if not now, for a promise of sometimes in the future. Make sure you have a pay slip, even if it's tenable for future pay, or make sure you have a sort of an invoice that you're invoicing the business on. So these were things I wasn't aware about. So I just kept on working with the business, doing everything I had to do, and bringing in people, letting them go. Then I started seeing a lot of things where it made me realize very fast that people could be very entitled. And I used to be very pissed off about this because up until when I started the business, I never understood how human beings could be very entitled. Because when someone says that they've done some amount of work and they need to get paid, it makes sense because they've worked for that thing, right? And you need to pay them for it. But this is where it gets very bitter. You've worked 3, 4, 5 times as much as them. They've come and they've not really done anything much because whatever you told them to do, they've not done it well or even at all. They've just done a shabby part of it, but they are paid by the hour. So the best you can do is just to sack them, but you still need to pay them because they actually rendered work. Now, so those are approaches that I totally sidelined as being not important. That knowing what I know now would have helped a lot, right? And on the worst case scenario, let's assume that you've tried all this approach and you couldn't. Never bite more than you can chew, you know, like that whole parable. If you need 10,000 for a business loan and the revenue of your business is not making as much, make sure you calculate backwards to what you know you would be able to pay with your personal money if the business were to go broke. That money you'll be able to pay with your personal money, reduce it and see how you'll be able to make that reduced amount work for whatever you need it for. Let me tell you why, because once you do that and the business works, be patient, because if you can do that and it works, then you can decide to take even more than what you need, right? And just do exactly the same thing you've done with the little amount of money. And definitely it's going to work because it's worked for the little, which was the guinea pig test. It's going to work for the bigger. But the last thing you want to do is you want to get this big money as a loan that you're probably signing a warranty to that is going to probably hurt you. And then when you get the loan, you just don't even know how to use it, or you've not even started using it, or you can't even finish using it, or you even waste it, worse still. But guess what? The lender, the loan starts from the day you were divorced the loan, and those credits will start racking. There are lots of things I've actually done, learned, and blown in the business. And at least these are the 3 things that resonate with me today and I wanted to share. I'm happy to hear from you guys. If you have anything to say, you can leave it in the comment section. If you want to reach out to me as well, please feel free to reach out to me. If you want me to talk about any topic whatsoever or any topics, just let me know and I'll definitely be able to do that. Like I said, we're all learning here. I'm still an entrepreneur in progress. I learn every day. I make mistakes every day. But all I can pledge is that as I make my mistakes and I learn what I have to learn, I would share with everyone and I'll share here. Hopefully to be helpful to someone. Thank you.